Welcome to the Human Pulse podcast, where we talk about living well with technology. I'm Fabrice Neuman, a tech consultant for small businesses.
And I'm Ann Trager, a human potential and executive performance coach.
This is episode 21, recorded on July 27th, 2025.
Human Pulse is usually never longer than 30 minutes, so let's get started. We are honored today to introduce a man who has recently changed my life. I am a coach, and coaches use all kinds of assessments. I understand their use, I've used them, I use other ones occasionally, but honestly, assessments truly bore me. I really get why they're important, but they bore me as a coach. Okay, imagine. So that is until I discovered Meet Yourself, which is a personality assessment based on everything I love: genetics, neuroscience, behavioral psychology, and it provides a truly unique, empowering look at your innate motivations and potentials. I am so enthusiastic about it. I'm excited like a kid in a chocolate shop, or me as an adult who I am right now in a dark chocolate shop. Okay. So this tool was developed by Dr. Antoine Eid, who joins us today. He founded Meet Yourself. And he also founded the Human Index, and he's author of the world's first dictionary of personality traits. And he is CEO of Leadership Consulting Group and head of the Brain Based Leadership Program in Cambridge. Well, anything. Anyway, you see, he has done a lot, and he has mostly come up with this extraordinary tool. He has set out to create a world where everyone is living in their full potential, and I believe he is truly contributing to that on a daily basis. So welcome, Antoine.
Thank you so much for the introduction. It humbles me to see your enthusiasm. You and Fabrice are doing amazing things, and thank you for bringing this from the angle of technology as well.
Well, yeah, thank you, Antoine, for joining us today. I was lucky enough to do the Meet Yourself certification level one, and uh, because basically you forced me because you said, Antoine, that it would be great to do that as a couple, and it was. And I can vouch for how transformative it was. But as Anne said, we're not here to talk only about Meet Yourself, but we wanted to have your view about technology, because this is what we do here. We talk about technology and living well with it. We both, Anne and I, bask in technology. I'm a tech reviewer and stuff like that. And so we like to have our guests' views on how well they live with technology. And actually, do you live well with technology? Do you have would you say, a healthy relationship with technology?
That's a very nice question. The short answer is no. And part of it is deliberate, and the other part is me not being able to cope with so many apps and tools at the same time. Basically, you and know and are very familiar with the concept. Intuitive brains are more in touch with nature, with people, and we do use technology, but it's not usually our biggest preference, because we are less concrete, less pragmatic, and more within our own imagination and thoughts. So my relationship with technology has been on and off, and I tend to get hooked to a tool or an app for a while until I find something better, but I've never been able to juggle or manage so many at the same time.
I love that, and I love what you're saying about intuitive minds, because I, as you brought up, am an intuitive mind as well. I have one of those, and I love the big picture, and I love technology, but like you said, not in a really concrete way. I would never build an app. I would never code anything, and I would never, like you, stick with an app for a very long time. I mean, I just move on, you know. Well, Fabrice, so I'm curious, because you're a little bit more involved in the weeds of technology than I am, and yet you have an intuitive mind as well.
Well, I guess also I've found comfort in using technology. And so when I started, I would, spend hours in just like arranging my files on my PC that was not connected to the internet yet because it was like in 1984, and so things like that. So I guess it was I always had, for example, a computer well organized, meaning it's the opposite of my desk. So I guess for whatever reason, it works better for me on a computer than on, with the real objects and papers and pens and stuff like that. So I don't know why exactly, but I'm curious, Antoine, because you're saying that you're not sticking with an app for so long, but I would expect you to have a few landmarks that like things that you've been using for so long that maybe you forgot all about. We all have that. Maybe you use, maybe it's Word, maybe and it's an online tool that you still use today. Maybe it's a game, for example. Do you actually play on
Yeah.
your computer?
Yeah. Well, yes, I used to be a gamer, and this reminds me of very nice long sleepless nights playing Portals. Have you played Portals before?
No.
No, I'm not familiar with this one. What is it?
Yeah, it's an addictive game, and you play it online with other people.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so that was many years ago, and it was I got hooked to it with one of my actually colleagues at work, one of my staff members, and we finished work late at night and we started playing. But yes, you're absolutely right. We cannot escape using technology this in this world. Um, and it's funny. It was only a few days ago that I was looking at the finances in my company, and I realized how much we are paying for all these
Mm,
subscriptions, and they
mm,
Mm.
all seem very small,
mm.
$7, $8, but you would only realize how much we're paying when you add them up together.
Yeah.
And it's thousands of dollars every month between your calendar apps and your email server thing and everything else. The ones that I use most are just the regular ones, but I would like to show you something that I just found next to me. This is
Ah.
my to-do list.
Oh, you use
Oh,
that kind of technology, like the
That's the technology that I
old-fashioned
use.
technology.
It's
Yeah.
and for those
actually
who don't have the image, it's
technically a
pen and
pen.
paper.
Pen is
Yeah.
a technology.
It is.
Anything that's been
Yeah.
developed in a lab or in a research center and turned into a sellable product is called a technology. So this is one,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
still use that to go through my through my to-do list.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. I'm always working with my clients on, being more productive and finding systems and stuff like that to to do whatever it is they have to do. And what I've always found for myself is that I have to change, and I'm always going back. Look, I've got one of those too, a piece of paper with a bunch of scribbles on it, which nobody can read, including myself. But the scribbles help, because and then I go back and I say,
Yeah.
what was it that I noted down? But anyway, yeah, yeah, I use pen and paper as well.
I totally agree with the fact that technology, when we talk about technology nowadays, the first thing that comes to mind is, computer chips and screens and what have you. Uh, and so, but we forget that before all those tools we use on a regular basis, they had to be invented. And so they were new and a new technology, just as the wheel was. But seeing you guys with your pens and papers, that I wouldn't say that it makes me cringe because there would be too harsh of a word, but because for me, so I guess I'm gonna go there. Paper is not a good technology as far as I'm
Yeah.
concerned. For example, for reading, I cannot for the life of me, I'm exaggerating just a tiny bit, but read on paper. And
Mm.
I like to read on screens or on e-ink screens. When I do sometimes use a pen, it's more like of a stylus on a kind of a tablet, because basically what I miss is the fact that pen and paper are not connected to anything and they don't synchronize to anything. So you can lose them. Maybe it's a positive characteristic for you, and you'll tell us, Antoine. But what I mean to say is that if I write something somewhere, I want to make sure that I can go back to it, whichever device I use. Do you miss that in paper, or why do you choose paper still?
I could actually give what I think is the explanation for why you have this preference and why do I have a different preference.
Nice.
And
Please
we
do
both have,
enlighten me.
we've both done our brain print, and I remember very well that yours was quite pragmatic. So
Yes.
lower brain thinking, concrete thinking. So accomplisher and socializer thinking. Am I correct?
I think Fabrice was visioner and socializer.
I'm not such an accomplisher.
That's not what I remember. Are you
Oh,
sure?
uh,
I might be mistaken, but you must, yeah, you must know better than me because
Yeah, yeah,
you've
yeah.
had
We
this
but
conversation.
we compared it. We compared it. So Fabrice is a visioner, and but I think he's got some higher level genetic motivators that are in the accomplisher area.
Maybe we can, if you can retrieve your brain print just to verify, because I recall it was pragmatic, but
Yeah, do
it,
share it with us, Fabrice. It'll be
even if it's not, you must have an accomplisher preference within that intuitive thinking, which makes our brain print different, your brain print different than mine and Anne, who have an intuitive preference without a pragmatic or an accomplisher thinking motivator.
yeah,
Did
totally
you
no
find it,
accomplisher.
Fabrice?
No, not yet. So I have to. I guess I'll.
So then, while you're doing that, let me explain from my standpoint.
Yes,
It's
please.
basically due to my high intuitive preference. My issue is with control. I need to be thinking freely and inspired in the moment. This is how my thinking is driven. And I've always felt that technology takes that freedom away from me. My team has been struggling for a long time getting me to add my tasks or mark my tasks as completed in our project management thing. I could never do it. I could never accept that my computer is telling me when is the deadline for me to finish something. I want to finish it whenever I feel like finishing it. And it goes back to what drives me. And it's more the feeling, the sensation, the being in the moment, rather than the efficiency, which is what drives a pragmatic thinker. And because technology helps a lot with efficiency, pragmatic thinkers adopt technology and they actually have a higher reliance on technology that is reliable, but not necessarily the best. A printer is a good printer for an accomplished thinker if it produces good paper and it doesn't break, but doesn't have to have the highest resolution.
So interesting. Okay.
Uh, do you mean to say that you don't trust technology that much?
I do. I just cannot be tamed. I cannot be controlled because just to give you an idea about my day, I don't have a calendar. I spend my day talking to people, and I'm very happy doing meetings all day long. But then when it comes to doing small tasks, I keep postponing these endlessly until that's it. It's now causing damage. That's the time when under that type of pressure, that I start working on small details. But when I gave a few attempts at a project management or a calendar, I saw that these tasks were getting postponed and postponed
Mm-hmm.
endlessly, and there was no point in having them in the project management thing anymore, because I was the only one in my company that wasn't actually doing my tasks because intuitive thinkers procrastinate, and I came to peace with the fact that I'm going to eventually do it when I feel like it.
Well,
I
so
love your description because
yeah.
I completely recognize myself in that. And as a very intuitive thinker with a high visioner and a high and socializer, I actually ground myself with accomplisher things. That is, I will use the tools in such a way to get stuff done because otherwise I just never get it done.
Mm.
And so
Yeah.
I've developed that skill It's a learned competency in order to just sort of ground me and get stuff done so that I can, like survive in this world.
Mm.
Fabrice, did you find your brain print?
Yeah, yeah. So I'll try maybe to give another take on that. So I'm 32% socializer, 31 visioner, and 21 reasoner. So not an accomplisher that much. Um,
Uh-huh.
but I also tend to be logical but I'm very into team. I'm a team player and in the sharing process. And I also think that what I found in technology is the possibility, the ease of sharing things. Because if you
Mm.
have this would be my take. Uh, the fact that and sharing with others or with myself, like between devices, and that's my point of being able to have access to everything I own or have or read or whatever,
Mm.
wherever I am and whenever I want to. If I put something, and plus, I would say I'm known to be, and will confirm that, somewhat forgetful with objects. And so if I had my notes on a notebook, paper notebook, then I would forget to take it with me, right?
So
And
what I'm hearing is this really interesting contrast of Antoine, for you, technology can it limits your freedom, and for Fabrice, it opens up his freedom. Okay,
Mm.
and it's the
Mm.
same technology,
yeah,
which is
exactly.
such
Yes,
an
yes.
astonishing thing. And I think it brings us down to this very beautiful thing that really comes out in Meet Yourself, and that is how individual and unique we all are in who we
Yes.
are, in how, in what our motivators are, and and then how we're going to express that in the world. That was my great
Yeah.
moment of thought there.
As an example, it reminds me of this story about the GPS. We all, I suppose you do too, Antoine, use GPS to go from one place to the next. Do
No,
you?
but I'll tell you some stories about
Oh,
that.
okay.
Oh
Well,
yeah. Oh, I can't wait.
yes, please, because so I remember this conversation with a friend a few years ago, who would refuse to use GPS on a regular basis because it would impede his freedom to go places. Because he said, "Well, so it tells me where to go, so I can never get lost again." And for him, it was really a blockage to that. And for me, is that, well, because I have GPS. I can go wherever I please, and if I get lost, I know I can go back, and so it really eases my mind. It reassures me thanks to technology. And so it was totally opposite, and he couldn't comprehend my point of view, and I couldn't comprehend his. So
Mm.
what's your position on that? If I'm pun intended.
Well, my position is very different than yours, but I can totally comprehend your position and why not getting lost is important. Uh, for me, getting lost is usually the most fun part of a journey. The other day, I was running a session and I asked people to write down the last time they were truly happy.
Mm.
And I was able to recall the last three times that I was truly happy. And I was surprised. They were all almost the same story, but only in different places. The thing that makes me happiest is reaching a new city, hiring a car, and finding my way to the hotel without a GPS. In getting lost and stopping and talking to people and asking them how to get there. The other day, I was walking across the park in Cambridge, and I did the park diagonally. It was the first time I go there, just outside Cambridge. And when I reached there, I was wondering if another route would take me back to the parking. So there was a couple of an old couple walking together. And I asked them, excuse me, does this take me back to the car park? And they were very nice people. And they started explaining to me. He said, the man said, yes, you go straight. And then as soon as he said you go right, I started losing interest. I did not want him to tell me the rest of it. I just wanted him to tell me, yes, you can get there, and leave me to figure it out. And I just, something inside my head just was blocking all his words. I did not want to hear it. And that's exactly what Anne said. It's amazing how we are made differently and how we prefer thinking differently. Some of us prefer safety to experimentation, some experimentation or fun or curiosity. Some prefer being prepared ahead of time, knowing exactly how. I know people who would arrive and know how to get there because all of the preparations they've done before. So what really is interesting in this is that we're just us and we're beautiful
Yeah,
just the way we are. We're just
yeah,
different.
yeah,
And that's what
exactly.
makes this world and all of us so nice, is that variety of these different minds
Yeah,
being together.
yeah, beautiful. Okay, so it's pretty clear for me that your main focus is on like these beautiful people, but also on like personality development and how and who we are, who we become, who we are, what contributes to that. And so in your experience, how do you think technology, helps or hinders our capacity for being the humans we are? Okay. It's kind of a broad
Mm,
question, but yeah.
it's a nice one. Well, technology is part of who we are today, if we want that or not. I can't think of an example where anyone is living absolutely without technology, or at least the technology we know. I've just came back from my road trip. As you know, I was going across Asia, over parts of Asia, and I got the chance to meet some amazing people
Mm,
who think that they are using the latest technology, and that for them was the best thing they have put their hands on. And what matters really is whether a person is able to control or to use technology for their happiness and not the other way around, not become
mm,
a prisoner of technology. Especially what I've been observing a lot, having conversations with people in remote areas, what strikes me is the depth of their thinking.
mm,
Even though they don't have the same technology, they're not on Instagram all day long, but they have depth of thinking. And what this makes me realize is that today, what is happening is, due to this technology being so available and so ready, that we have given up depth of information to speed of information.
mm,
Today's people know so much about almost nothing.
mm,
Mm.
When you talk about someone who's not in touch with so much technology, they know less, but a lot about that.
mm.
So we have been, for a couple of generations at least, giving up depth for speed. And unfortunately, with AI, I'm now worried that we're going to be giving up speed for no thinking at all.
Yeah. This is such a key point, and it comes down to something that we talk about frequently in this podcast, which is becoming intentional about what we're doing, being aware of how we're using the technology, and are we using it to, replace our thinking, or are we using it to deepen our thinking?
Mhm. And fill up empty spaces. I would say that quote unquote because I think we tend to consider uh, too often that those spaces are empty, but they are not because they are full of our thoughts, for example. So I guess it goes back to what you were saying, Antoine, which is when we don't have anything to do, it's okay not to do anything because we always do
Yeah,
think.
Yeah.
We don't have to listen to
yeah,
music
yeah,
or podcast or read or doom scroll all the time because
Or
that's
meditate, or try not to think, or anything. We can
yeah,
just be.
we can just
yeah,
be, and I guess we forget to be. And in
yeah.
that area, do you think that what does what's the role of AI in that? Is it helping or is it not in that area?
Well, because of my involvement with AHI, in the HI index, I have been researching and reading and thinking a lot about this.
So please,
Basically, the way,
excuse me, can you say a few words about the HI index so that the readers can?
Yes, of
Or the
course, of
listeners can
course.
catch on to that. Yeah.
So basically, it was all inspired by the recent World Economic Forum statistics that I've seen end of last year. And we don't realize how much we are giving up on our analytical ability because we have access to a machine thinking for us. And it is said that in the next few years, this analytical ability will almost become obsolete. People are going to start, our brains will be rewired to go to a computer screen to solve our simplest problems. And that is a skill, just like any other, like a muscle. If you don't train it, after a while, it's you don't use it anymore. So I'm accepting from one side that AI is just another tool that humans have created. And every time human beings create a tool, they end up gaining new skills, transforming and giving up on some of their existing skills. At
Mm.
some point in history, when humans or left the cave, men left the cave to go hunting, they used to run in groups after the prey to catch it with their bare hands. And one day, they invented the bow and arrow. And now they have gained distance, but they gave up on their physical strength and on their speed. And it's normal. At one point in time, somebody was looking at the spoon and saying, why, what is this thing? This is going to change the whole way we eat with the chopsticks or whatever, or with our hands. And that was the technology back then. It was the
Mm.
equivalent of AI today. And every time we adopt a tool that men have created, the humans have created, we are transforming into something we don't know
Mm.
what is going to be, but we know what we're giving up on. And right now, we are giving up on our analytical skills slowly but surely. To an extent, what the part that scares me is what's going to happen when the next generations are not able to solve their own problems. Who's going to solve it for them? At what cost? I don't want to get into the conspiracy theory thing, but it scares me.
Mm-hmm.
If there's 1% chance there's a plan behind this, that these tools are being used not only for our convenience, but also to one day be controlling our lives and our thinking. Um, and that's the part that scares me, really.
Mm.
And this is why, this is why I'm a big advocate of human intelligence.
Mm.
Not that I'm against AI. There are big people in the world trying to regulate this, possibly. But I would like to remind people that at some point, the only thing that we can offer as human beings in this world is our human traits,
Mm.
because everything else is going to be replaced.
Yeah.
And if we don't nurture these traits today, we're not going to have anything to offer.
So
I
I'd like to reassure people that for real, you are not against technology at all and not
Of
against AI
course.
at all. And for example, you have created an AI chatbot that is quote unquote you. You know,
Mm-hmm.
when you're
Right.
part of the Meet Yourself program, you can access the Dr. Antoine Eid chatbot. So you can ask it questions and to help go deeper into the analysis of your brain print, as we said, and your assessment, the Meet Yourself assessment. So, but yet I would ask you, how do you reconciliate this with what you just said about you being afraid of it?
Just quickly, so I know that Anne wants to say something, but
Mm-hmm.
just making sure that we're using technology in the service of humanity and not as means to control humanity. That's the only point that, and we people said that before the social media boom. People said that before cars, etc. But these voices eventually, the human brains are going to be seeking convenience. This is
Yeah.
one of the brain's biggest goals, is to seek convenience. And no matter how much we resist it, most human brains on this planet are going to eventually favor convenience.
Mm.
But I'll be becoming the lazy, overweight, not fit,
Mm.
mentally lazy people that would eventually, this is how extinction happens.
Yeah.
Are
Yeah.
we going to become extinct as a species because we're not fit enough anymore to survive?
Yeah, this circles back to long-lasting philosophical questions. That to actually, the Stoics are all about, how you refine yourself by getting better and pushing yourself to do hard things. I'm obviously simplifying the philosophical thought, but doing hard things in order to push yourself to be better, because otherwise, yes, our natural tendency is to be lazy. Well, actually, let's put it in a different words. It's to expend the least amount of energy possible,
Yeah, yeah,
which is by definition being lazy. And
yes,
we're designed that way because we are extraordinary beings with extraordinary capacities that no AI yet has been able to replicate. That's where I join you, Antoine, in your in the work that you're doing, and I am so admirative of it, and I am so happy to be working with Meet Yourself, because it allows us to really focus in on who we are as individuals,
yes,
and you really highlight those traits that make us not only human but also individual humans with different potentials and different capacities in a way that is both random. I mean, it's also just like completely random that we all have these experiences. I mean, we're born with genes, and then we have all these experiences that will create other stuff, and then we have an ability to learn and develop behaviors throughout our life. So we have this breadth of possibility in us that is
yes,
incredible. And yes, by all means, let's not like just give it over to AI, which is so one dimensional. So I guess that's what I want to say after this conversation, and bring it to, I believe we've probably reached our 30-minute point. So
It goes so
how would
fast.
you, it goes so fast. How would you like to close out this conversation?
me.
Yes, you.
Well, it's always nice talking to you with your different minds and your different personalities, both brilliant. I like that we're looking at this from different angles. A trust in technology, less reliance and trust in technology, but both from good intentions.
Mm,
Uh, intention of how can we use technology in the service of us becoming
mm,
better people. And if you don't have the intention of making people better, you wouldn't have this podcast and you wouldn't
mm,
be doing everything that you both of you do. So I'm really honored to know you and to talk to you. And I know that we have our little corner in the world and our little voice, and we can say so much. And we might not be able to make a very big difference, but just a wake-up call for anyone who has a child who's leaving their child on their phones 24/7 in front of the computer 24/7 is how can we manage that to make sure that we use technology for our benefit, but at the same time not become prisoners of
mm,
it.
mm. Thank.
And this, people, is how wonderful it can be to have a conversation with Dr. Antoine Eid. uh, Thank you again, Dr. Antoine Eid, for being so generous
Thank
with your
you.
time.
Thank
That's it
you.
for episode 21. Thank you all for joining us. Visit humanpulsepodcast.com for links and past episodes.
And please do reach out and find out more about Meet Yourself at meetyourself.me. And thank you again for being so generous with your time and thoughts.
Thank you all, and please share with this podcast with one person around you, and see you in 2 weeks.
Bye, everyone.